Hey guys, welcome to Sopi Mix Studio conectando Aruba com o mundo via vídeo podcasting. Conectar conosco, compartilhar ideias e histórias para nos inspirar e para conan abrir. Sopi Mix Studio é plataforma de podcast na Aruba. Follow-nos no Facebook, subscribe no YouTube ou na plataforma de podcast preferida. Escute o podcast preferido que hora e onde está. Sopi Mix Studio, powered by Qredits. Botiu ideia? Qredits educa e prepara a abo para ser um empresário exitoso. De business plan, guia personal e préstamo para negócio até com 100 mil florim. Bira bom mês donho com Qredits. Sopway. Passa na Sopway para o sop, salada, wrap ou flatbread e mais fresco. Com 7 localidades rond Aruba. Nós está cerca de Ibo. Sopway. Swingmasterz. Organizando events, conferences of weddings. Mister de luz, sound, staging, DJ, trussing of LED screen. Swingmasterz está claro para ser boa fiesta éxito. Swingmasterz. E agora, Sopi Mix Studio é plataforma de podcast de Aruba, está apresentar.
Wow, it has been a long time coming since the previous podcast, is it? Well, welcome everybody to the 5th episode of Stima Autista, with its mission to create autism awareness for Aruba and for the world. My name is Lesire, and as you can see, I'm alone here. I'm a lone host here at Sopi Mix Studio. But I am not alone. I have two guests here in the podcast. One on the left is my mom, Raquel. And the other right is the president of Fundación Autismo and host of Sincerely Carolina, one of the other podcasts of Sopi Mix Studio, Miss Carolina Tispan. Now, before we can get to the conversation and the news, why am I alone? Carolina, can you tell us why am I alone?
Yes. So in the previous episodes, Byron was hosting together with one of our other ambassadors, co-host Kay. Kay is taking some time to focus a little bit on her personal projects. So maybe we'll see her again in the future. We don't know yet, but for now, Byron will be hosting the podcast, and we are looking forward. As we all know, Byron loves it. He's a really great host, so we are not concerned that the podcast will be great.
Yeah, I feel bad for Kay, but I'll wish her the best of luck in their future endeavors. Maybe she'll come back in the podcast in the future.
Yes.
Now, it has been a long time since the previous episode of the podcast in February with the mental health and bullying episode. And it had generated a lot of responses from different instances, from different personalities that show that mental health really does matter. And it had created a bubble on Sopi Mix Studio that created a lot of new podcasts from the Sopi Mix, like for ones from recently from the Aruban Department of Health, and also from Fundación Antidroga Aruba with the Mante Habri podcast. We want to wish them congratulations to us all for their podcast as well. And my schedule is a bit tight. It's completely tight. Besides work, school, and my training in bowling, it's a bit hard to execute this episode of the podcast. But we're very glad that we have executed the podcast afterwards, and it's going to be talking about my experiences and my participation at the 2022 Special Olympics USA Games, which took place in Orlando, Florida, in the United States. So we're going to be having a conversation with Carolina and my mom about it. But first, we had to get to the deep dive of the news. I've handpicked the top news stories from the current month, and also we'll be having more news to come. There will be more news to come in the future episodes of the podcast. There are notables as well, like from baby Noah's autopsy, the school games just currently ongoing in Aruba, and more. So please stay tuned. Now we have to start with the recent blackout that occurred here in Aruba. On June 9th of this year, while I was away with my mom, it happened to blackout at a new Recip 4 plant at Web Aruba NV. A blackout was so devastating, it occurred at least, 2 hours. At 4 o'clock, the power was restored. It was known that it was occurred at the RISA 4 plant, that it was recently tested, and it may have some issues. But the other RISA plants and boilers were working fine. But the biggest issue here in the blackout was the Queen Beatrix International Airport. The airport suffered a major close, a major pause on all travel info. All tourists, staff, and crew would have to evacuate. And that is no good. It's all because of the backup power that happened with major troubles at the airport. It occurred a major evacuation, and the following days, June 10th and 11th, there was a major test and found out there were major issues and they need to be fixed. They fixed it in time, and the airport was up and running. Boy, it was embarrassing for Aruba to have no power, even in the airport's backup power, and it feels devastating. We have to know that why did Aruba, with so fragile power, could do this thing, really? Now, in the world news, in the recent episode, I've talked about the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. Later, Russia was advancing, Ukraine was counterattacking, but the European Union has ordered, along with the other European country, Moldova, to grant the European Union membership status. The membership status was so vital for Ukraine and for Moldova to come to the European Union. And that generated a lot of interest for EU members of heads of state, and also for the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who supported as well for the Ukraine to counterstrike their protected city capital, Kyiv, from the Russian forces. We just hope and pray that Ukraine could, prevail from this terrible invasion posed by Russia. Now, for sports, did you know that the Astro baseball star Sander Bogaerts made history during a baseball game when the Red Sox took on the Oakland Athletics, winning the game 7-2, while in his 1,094th game since his start in 2013, August of 2013. In the fourth inning, he connected a solo home run at the Oakland Stadium. Now, I have some other news that is regarding education. There have been a lot of schools, countless schools, that reported results for the first period of final exams. And here are some schools that got their highest grades. The highest percentage grade was Filomena Colegio Mavo with a score of, at this, 92%. 92% of the graduates who got graduated from the school. This is the second highest, of course. The highest ones were 88%. The 88% represented, of course, from Maria Colegio Mavo, Bom Plaisir Colegio. 87% Abraham de Veer Colegio as well. Also notable from Colegio Arubano with the VWO, the score of 79, Havo 70, and other notables are my former schools, APB Autista, who got the score of 69%, and APB San Nicolas, back in Sunrise City, 65%. Of course, this is just the first period. There are some students that went to the second period. From all of us at Stima Autista and from Sopi Mix Studio, we want to wish the second period students the best of luck and to congratulate those who got graduated in the first period. Good job. Now, there are even more stories, like I said, from baby Noah's autopsy, from the school games, which is ongoing right now in Aruba, but that will be told next time on the podcast. Now, before we begin on the conversation, we want to welcome a new sponsor for Stima Autista, and that is the Kiwanis Club of Aruba, with its sub-clubs, the Kiwanis Club of Palm Beach and San Nicolas. Welcome, Kiwanis Club, to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for giving contribution to us in the podcast, and hope we can meet up in the future endeavors for more collaboration projects to come. Now, recently, June 5th, 2022 was the opening ceremony of the 2022 Special Olympics USA Games. It was the first time that not only the U.S. competed, also 10 delegates from the Caribbean, including Aruba, competed as well in the 2022 USA Games. If I can remember to call my mind, not only Aruba's participated, also St. Kitts and Nevis is going to be there as well. Trinidad and Tobago was there. Jamaica was there. Haiti was there. Wow. That's a lot. Even Bahamas. Bahamas is a lot to know that we shined as one. The whole Caribbean, the whole U.S. shined as one in this unbelievable USA Games. And the good news is that we're going to come back in 2026 when the USA Games heads to Minnesota for the next USA Games. But for us, it's like a warm-up for the 2023 Special Olympics World Games, which will take place in the German capital of Berlin. Now, in this conversation, we'll talk about the experiences of my experience at the USA Games and what to look out for travel if you have an autistic son, you're an adult, etc. So I'm going to start with you, Mom. So get ready. Here comes and we have amplified the questions. We have amplified it from 10 to 12. So that is a big jump to get us some more time to get into the podcast. All right, here we go. Raquel, bon dia. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Morning, Byron. How are you? Morning, Carolina.
Hi.
Thank you for having me in your program, Byron.
Thank you. So, between you and me, where did we go in the games?
Actually, Byron, your travel experiences started when you were 12.
Oh, really?
Can I start with that?
Sure.
I wanted to see how you how do you behave in a plane. So we started when you were 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I took a flight to Curacao.
Okay.
And it was about a 25 minutes flight. So that was your first tryout in a plane, which went very good.
Okay.
Beside of leaving my hand very tightly and almost blew.
Of course.
But you pressed my hand so tight, but it was good.
Sorry that I pressed your hand.
Then your next travel was to the United States.
The first trip.
Your first trip was a surprise trip.
And
Also very good. You behaved very, very well.
Exactly.
Yes, your third trip was to Colombia.
The South.
A little bumpy, but you made it. It was a different experience in a plane for you. And finally, we flew again 2 weeks ago. And exciting seeing Byron after a long time of not traveling back in a plane. It was great. We went to Fort Lauderdale and from there to Orlando.
Yeah, it was a long trip from Fort. We forgot one more trip recently. That's the Netherlands. Exactly 3 years ago.
Yes. That was a tough one because I thought having you in the plane for about 9 to 10 hours was a challenge, but no, you did pretty good. You slept in the plane, you watched your videos. So yeah. That was very good, Byron.
Besides the Netherlands, it was a long period for me and for you to stay home because of the coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic. But now that the COVID virus is lesser in the news, I took opportunity to compete in the 2022 USA Games in Orlando, Florida. The first leg was a smooth ride, but there was a small turbulence. The turbulence
I heard
that happened, that's because of the tropical storm that passed through the South Florida.
I was praying for us not to get through that storm, but unfortunately the plane got right into it and it caught us all off guard. Even the poor steward fell next to me, and Byron was all upside down, so we had to calm him down for the last 25 minutes in reaching Fort Lauderdale. So yeah, it was a little bit of a challenge, but he did it.
Turbulence was no good. Big no-no. But when we said we went safe and sound to Fort Lauderdale, but then we split. My mom went to a car to Orlando, and I took with delegation by a bus to Orlando. I went to different hotels. I went to the Disney All-Star Sports Resort, which is part of the Athletes Village, and my mom stayed at Ramada by Wyndham at Kissimmee, just a mile apart from where I am. Now, how did you help me prepare for the trip?
First of all, we had to gather everything that was required to be in his luggage to be part of the game. So all his uniforms, everything had to be done. Secondly, Byron had to. We gave him a little bit of how do you call it? Not like a tranquilizer.
You mean Valerian?
Valerian, yes. So he can be really at peace. And yes, it helped a lot. Really, it helped a lot. Every day he had it for like 3 weeks before traveling.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And it helped him a lot. And of course, a good night's sleep. Byron had a great night's sleep before traveling. Though he was up very early, but he went to bed early, and that was our way to prepare Byron for this journey. Yeah.
Just for notice, my bowling federation stood up for me and prepared me for the type of sleep early. I had to be 10 o'clock precise to get to bed.
Yeah. Regulations, actually a month before the actual sport, they have to sleep at 10 o'clock. They have to be in bed by 10.
Okay.
It helps them get like all the tiredness out and keep them in shape for them to be in shape once they start. And also during, they have to be asleep at 10 o'clock, which I'm not sure if Byron did it. Not sure, but...
To be honest, I did. I did, all right? I did. Now, what were you most worried about preparing and during what happened in Orlando?
Oh, Byron, I was worried that you would be alone in a delegation with a lot of people that you didn't have a normal encounter with. But like Mommy told you the day before we traveled, I said, all the years that I have been preparing you for this, I was really hoping that you could apply it. And honestly, I got nice feedback from your delegation that you were very well behaved, very respectful, and you did all your things and your chores very nice. So that made me feel really, really good that I did a great job.
Exactly. It took a long time for me to prepare for being alone without my mom, but it did prevail. Yeah. It was surely a nice experience for me, but I have to pass now to Carolina with the questions that are sent to me.
Yeah, so I have a couple questions. I just want to, again, what Raquel was mentioning, a good structure really helped. I do have to say that I talk sometimes with Raquel as well, as much as I talk with Byron. So in preparation for the games, I think the one thing that we were all a little bit worried for is, the social aspect, really. I think that more than anything else, I do have to say that we know why Raquel was also wondering how this was going to go. It is indeed a new group. But Byron, you have been getting out there more and more, especially in the last year. You have been doing a lot of talking with people that you don't really know and just working on that social aspect. So of course we're also very proud that we can see that the things that we know Raquel has repeated so many times are finally like sinking in, and I see it too, the way you communicate with me, the way you communicate with others in Fundación Autismo. So we are really happy that is what everyone saw during your trip as well. So I have some questions for you, Byron, in regards to your trip. Okay, so Byron, tell me, what were you most nervous about for the trip, and why did it make you nervous or anxious?
Okay, the reason why I was completely nervous is that the duration of the flight, duration of the trip, and also the feeling for me that to be alone with my mom apart. It's kind of a challenging moment for me, but let's be honest. I took necessary precautions to calm down, even though that not completely calm. There are some dangers out there, especially when the U.S. is battling along with the world with COVID. So I took the necessary precautions in my handbag, my luggage, and everything. In my handbag, just to know, I've just put extra face masks to protect myself from the virus, and it did help me. It also brought some KN95 respirators that took me, well, a very comforting effect for me to protect not only for me, but also for the team. But the good news is, most of our delegation and the delegates that competed in the USA Games were completely vaccinated before heading to the games. So I didn't know that they got extra protection for the USA Games.
Yeah, that was a requirement.
It was a
had to be
complete
Vaccinated.
Yeah.
Okay.
it was a requirement. But also nervous was that I had to take a test. I had to take an antigen test before the part. That was before the U.S. got the news that they lifted the restriction
Exactly.
for all travelers, not just the U.S. travelers, but all travelers, especially here in Aruba.
And I saw you that morning because you came by my job to pick up something, and you were telling me, "Oh, I'm gonna go do my test now." And I told you, "Okay, you know, I mean, it is scary. I couldn't really like comfort you too much because we don't know. We hope that it will come out negative." And then you texted me, I think an hour later, "I already got my results. You know, it's negative." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank goodness."
The tests were instant. The tests were instant. My tests get
Awesome.
negative. My mom's negative too. So we got our fit to fly sealed.
Yes, I'm sure that created a sense of peace, right? Because you know at
Exactly.
least you could get on the plane. That's really nice.
Yeah.
All right, Byron. Next question I have for you. So, how did you prepare for the travel?
So how did I prepare for my travel? So, as I noticed, before the days before the trip, I would start learning how to pack up.
Okay.
How to pack my clothes, everything in the bag. And I do want to. It was a bit confusing moment because there was a handbag that the organization gave it to me along with all the essential stuff, the sports stuff for the games. The part between the ceremony, the sporting events as well. I was like, should we keep the handbag empty or should we put the sporting clothes in my luggage or put something like a carry-on bag or the sport bag? But it turns out that there was some confusion. But I noticed that I had to put all of my sports clothes in my luggage, while the handbag was used for carry-on. So I would put my headphones, my gimbal, the Osmo Mobile 3, and a lot of things. Even brought my mini tablet. It is the A7 Lite before I got my new S6 Lite.
Oh.
So that was a bit of a complicated process, but it went well.
Okay, I'm happy to hear. And how did you feel on the days of traveling? So when you arrived, and then you already mentioned after the plane, you guys had to take a bus, and then coming back as well. I know that you're coming back. Travel day was a very long and early day. So how did you feel during that?
Well, for a whole trip, I was tired.
Okay.
Before that, before we went to the plane to Fort Lauderdale, I took the opportunity with my mom to lunch out because the delegates were a bit behind with the organizing from the customs, the Aruba customs, security checkpoint, U.S. border pre-clearance, and the secondary security checkpoint. But I took the opportunity to lunch, and it was well timed for me and for my mom before because when we get to Fort Lauderdale, we took a mini snack. But when we are on the road in the turnpike, we stopped at the Port St. Lucie Fort Pierce Service Plaza. We noticed that the major restaurants, they're closed at 9.
Oh no.
So I took the opportunity to grab a sandwich at the marketplace and the turnpike, along with a healthy drink and a healthy bar, a granola bar, if I say. And it was very nice. But when we arrived at the All-Star Sports Resort, first of all, before we went to All-Star Music, but there was a bit of a mix-up. But then we arrived at the All-Star Sports Resort, which is also my favorite, because of my favorite sports. We arrived at the All-Star Sports and met up with the Montana delegation, the Special Olympics Montana delegation. And we brought in with a welcoming snack, with a sandwich, apple, and also a juice, so I think water. And we went all the way. We got our assigned rooms, and then headed to our room. It's very nice. We stayed at the Surfs Up building at the All-Star Sports. It was amazing. It was so amazing. It got the everything pre-programmed, has Wi-Fi, so I got communicated as well.
Okay.
So it's a great experience.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear, Byron. I guess I will continue asking you questions in a little bit.
Sure. I'll go back to my mom.
Yes.
So, Mom, what was your surprising moment throughout the trip?
My surprising moment was seeing you on the lane,
Yes.
away from Aruba, representing your country. That was for me, wow.
Yes.
I said, hard work pays off, Byron, and seeing you perform there was for me, that was it.
Exactly.
That's all I wanted to see.
Yes. I will tell about that, something behind me, the medals that I brought in the studio later on.
Yeah.
But now, I have to say, which moment, I know they have surprising moments, but what moment did you enjoy throughout the trip? Enjoyment.
My enjoyment, actually, after your second day of games, and I saw your scores, but they were preliminary scores.
Of course.
And we did not know who won, or everything was still in calculating. So Byron went back to his bus, and I took off, and I went to a mall, which was nearby. And after I was in the car, I got a message from Byron saying, "Mommy, it's silver." And that for me was it. I was just crying in the car like a baby. Just crying because, and then I started to check, really, are you sure? And he just answered, sure.
Yes.
Of course.
There was an app called the Special Olympics USA Games app, and I downloaded it prior to the travel, and I got notification that said your placement is 2. 2 means silver.
Yes.
And
And
it was-
mommy started calling everybody. I called Carolina, I called your trainers in Aruba, I called grandma. It was, wow. It was, I really celebrated that night. Yeah, I went out for dinner. Byron was not with me, but you know what?
Of course.
It's a celebration for me. Wow, silver. And when I called the trainer in Aruba, one of them, Byron have 2 trainers, 2 coaches, and Rita said, "We take silver. We'll take it."
Of course.
It was nice.
I have to laugh. I just want to add to the way you responded to your mom. So your mom, gave me the news. I was super excited. So I texted Byron as well. And then at some point I asked him in the morning, I think it was, I'm like, "Byron, so how are you feeling? And then he answers me. He's like, "Yeah, I had kind of like a bad night yesterday, but no worries. I took NyQuil." And I was like, "What?"
Here's the fact.
I'm asking Byron about his emotions, and he's like, "I just had some flu-like symptoms, but I'm good now."
Yeah, he had some severe allergic reactions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to be fact, that was sinus. That was sinus.
Sinus, yes. But I thought it was so funny because here we are, like, over the moon, excited, and he's like, "Okay, next."
Yeah. Indeed. Sinus is a big no-no, but
I know.
I took necessary medications. Of course, the NyQuil Severe,
Yeah.
Nasacort.
Yeah.
There was Nasacort
Yeah.
US.
Mommy
but-
bought all types of allergy.
Nice.
So we could fight that allergy. It was a change of temperature. His AC in his room was 68. I'm like, oh my
Yeeks.
God, Byron, it's way too cold.
Cold, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not good.
And it's allergy season, so
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
something that it's hard. But thank goodness there were enough things that you could take to help you. So that's good. And I'm glad you told me about it too.
Exactly. Now, I have to go to the tips. So, planning a trip with someone who has autism can be complicated. So, Mom, what are the tips for parents to look out for the next time they plan a trip or vacation?
Sure, I will share a little bit of what I did with you since you were 12. It's just that actually you need to get to know your child good, to know their capacity. I knew that I used the first time the help at the airline. So I told them I have a special person traveling with me. So the lady, the stewardess, just took us all the way through, which was fast, and it was great. The second time I did the same thing. But as Byron grew, I realized that Byron can stand in line, and he enjoys it, and he watches. And then so, of course, get to the airport on time. Try to travel not during the weekend. Weekends are crazy busy at the airport. We had to travel 2 weeks ago on a Saturday, and it was hectic. It was incredibly hectic. So always try to travel in the week, less busy, so the lines would flow much better. Make sure that your child has had enough sleep, good night's sleep. Take with him things that he likes, like tablet or things that keep him busy in the plane. Earplugs. Byron, I always bought special earplugs for him, special for traveling. They're not expensive. They're different ones, and they're good. Some of them you can just use once and throw it away. Others you can just wash them and keep using them for traveling. It helps them a lot during takeoff with the gravity, and it helps really a lot. Other things, make sure that he eats well before traveling. Tummy is full. And during takeoff, just talk to them. Just tell them to breathe in, breathe out, and just take them through the steps of when the plane is going up. And once the plane is up, then he can go to do what he likes. Byron likes to watch a movie, or he likes to see the map of the plane where we're going. So, and before ascending, tell him, hey, we're gonna go down now, so start the breathing techniques again and be calm. And then little things like that I went through with Byron. Except the turbulence, that was a different experience.
Of course.
But talking to him, tell him to breathe, and then calm him down and tell him it's a turbulence, things happen, the pilot is a good guy, he's well trained, he knows exactly how to travel in turbulence, so things like that, and keep him calm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The big advantage that we were on board was Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi.
Yes, indeed, right? That is very helpful.
Yeah, we have. Of course, there's some simple instructions to get to Wi-Fi, and it was a smooth, breezy experience. Wi-Fi brings this advantage for me and you and for you to communicate as well. So it's a big advantage. And also, you forgot one thing: breathe and swallow.
Breathe and swallow. That's true.
Okay.
Breathe and swallow.
Yeah, those are important things to prepare for takeoff and for landing, to avoid ears getting popped. Of course, I don't like ears getting popped.
I don't think many people like that, but these are really great tips, Byron. Maybe we can share them later as well. Maybe we can type them up and share them on our social media. Of course, I think number one, like Raquel said, is knowing your child, of course. But I think she shared some really great tips that could apply not only, of course, to autistic children and young adults, but to anyone. Really.
Yes, please.
That's
Yes,
good.
please.
I also know a lot of people who are very scared of airplanes, and you also need to do the whole talking throughout the whole flight. So definitely, yes.
I'm not scared of airplanes at all.
Good. It's just the turbulence is kind of scary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
All right, Carolina.
Yes, I have some last questions for you, Byron. So what was the best moment for you throughout the games?
Ooh, best moments. There are a lot of best moments at the games. Mainly your arrival at the hotel with the Montana delegation. It's like an exchange between Aruba and for Montana. It's the first time that a Caribbean nation talked with the American delegation just at Vermont. Also, the opening ceremony. I saw the stadium, the Exploria Stadium, and it was huge. there were 60 delegates, and we were called. Man, we were maybe on television. We were on television. The broadcaster, ABC, ESPN, the global broadcasters of the Special Olympics, broadcasted the opening ceremony of the USA Games, and I was like, maybe some people here in Aruba might have watched this on cable. It was so amazing. Second experience for me, when the flame of hope was lit at the cauldron, I was so excited, jumped in crazy.
Nice.
The next moment, when we were heading to the Amway Center with the intermission, when we saw the recording of the games opening ceremony, and then there was entertainment. The biggest surprise that I got with the delegation and all delegations was the Harlem Globetrotters. The legendary Harlem Globetrotters, called Globetrotters. And we played a lot of entertainment, a lot of games, and it was so amazing.
Really
Then came the competition, and I played bowling. The first day was the prelims. And I have to bowl 3 games of prelims to get to know which division that I'm going to be in. For me, I'm in Men's Division 4. While my partner, so to say the name, Ms. Raquel, who was part of the Aruba bowling delegation, got into Women's Division 3. And I've played through my division, and I got the first silver medal. While my partner, of course, with a lot of troubles, ended up in 6th place, but got a 6th place ribbon. In doubles, it helped her and got silver as well. It was an exceptional moment that Aruba got silver medals, not just only in bowling, but there are also 3 different sports. 3. Bocce, athletics, and soccer. Of course, there are gold and silver in bocce, gold in athletics as well, and in soccer. Soccer got gold as well in 5, I think it's 7-on-7. Mama, 7-on-7? 7-on-7 soccer, and we played it against the home state Florida, and it was smooth breedings for Aruba. And when we arrived here from the U.S. to Aruba, it was a welcoming effort. We went through the airport, we got a welcoming salute from the firefighters, and it was amazing.
Thank you, Byron. I do have to say that was such a nice moment. Raquel and I were chatting in preparations for the athletes to come back. And of course, I was super excited for your results, but then other results were coming in and Aruba was doing really good. So Raquel and I were thinking, and I was like, I'm definitely going to go to the airport. And I sent a message to the news groups here in Aruba, one of our athletes in any case, our ambassador for Fundación Autismo, he got 2 silver medals, but there are other athletes. And then Raquel is like, imagine if they could do like a water salute. And I was like, I don't know, we can ask. I have no idea how they arranged that. So I was like, I can ask. I have no idea how that's done. So I messaged my friend at AAA, a shout out to Joanne, Mo Arons, and I was like, Joanne, listen, so this and that is going on. Do you think we can do something nice? I didn't even mention the water salute yet because I was like, I don't even know if that's an absurd thing to ask. And then she's like, yes, we can do something fun. She put me in touch with her team, with Andy and with Madeline. And so I was just talking to them, and I was like, so how do people get the water cannon salute? Like, is that a thing that people can request? And then they were like, yeah, let us check. And they did it. So I do want to say a huge thank you once again to AAA Aruba Airport Authority, because they too thought that this was worthy of such a salute, and they made it happen relatively short notice because, of course, we didn't know how many athletes were going to have medals. Up until Friday, we were still getting in information, but they made sure that all athletes got a super warm welcome.
Exactly. Big thanks to the Queen Beatrix International Airport, the Aruba Airport Authority, for helping with the water cannon salute. And when the pilot told us when we arrived,
because it was a surprise.
It was a surprise. Yes. They got us informed that there was going to be a water cannon salute, and we were all excited when we passed through the water cannon salute.
As we landed, I was looking on the runway to see if I could see the cars. And when I saw those 2 yellow greenish cars, I'm like, yes. And I told Byron, I have a surprise for you, Byron. And that was.
And then the
wow.
pilot mentioned it. That is
That the
so
pilot mentioned
nice.
It was nice. It was great.
All right. Next up, please.
Yes.
We do have a video for you guys. Check this out.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
That's nice. A photo of the water cannon
Yes.
salute. It's so amazing. It was
It
so
was
amazing. Yes. Big thanks to the Queen Beatrix International Airport for giving us this water cannon salute. It was so amazing.
yes.
It was an amazing experience. I've never been to a water cannon salute until now.
I have never either. Like, I'm so jealous now. I'm like, I need to do this thing so I can get a water cannon salute now.
Indeed. Next
So,
one,
Byron,
please.
Yes, next question. So, I mean, you have been saying that the USA Games was really nice. So, did you think that it was really nice organized? Was it nice?
It was completely organized.
Awesome.
Of course, the USA Games team and Disney, which is part of the partner for the Special Olympics, got us into fantastic meal options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they've split the breakfast here at the sports resort, lunch at the music resort, and dinner at the sports resort.
Nice.
At the Stadium Hall and Melody Halls. It was so amazing. Food choices are so good. So
Okay.
good. Even when there's a storm. When there's a storm, you know what happens? Shelter in place. They got us a call for officials, weather officials to contact. And ESPN Wide World of Sports, they called us that we had to shelter in place. We have to shelter inside until things give us an all clear from officials.
Nice.
Also, there
nice.
was a healthy athletes experience. We had to experience tests from eyes, from healthy minds, fit feet, smiles. Oh, wow. That's a lot of experiences here in the USA Games. It was completely organized. They did a good job. Let's say shout out to the USA Games team. You guys did an amazing job, and I hope we will see you guys soon in Minnesota in 2026.
Just wanted to add, they had special tents for even parents. If you had questions, you had anything, you can go directly through them. And they had a lot of volunteers, and they had all types of answers to my questions. Yes, they were very, very well organized. If you reach the stadium, they ask you to which sport you're going. They'll guide you to the parking. And even the day that Byron was not feeling well, I sneaked and took him into the hotel. There was nobody. All of a sudden, they spotted me, and they told the head of delegation that I was not allowed to do that, but I didn't know that. And I was like, where? I was in the hotel, and I did not see anybody. So security was very, very tight on all of them. All of them. I had my badge on, but I guess through my badge, I don't know how they spotted me there.
Okay.
But yeah, that security was very, very tight.
So strict rules that
Nice.
Special Olympics did for not only the athletes, but also for the parents and for the delegation members. Yeah, we all have to respect the rules.
Yes, but that's good. I'm happy to hear that it was so nice organized, Byron.
Yes.
So last question I have for you. What's next? I mean, for travels, for sports, bowling, what's next? Tell me.
Well, the next stop for me and for my mom, we were going to the Kegel Training Center in Lake Wales, Florida for some trainings.
Awesome.
Because they need to be more consistent in the names. But after it, we are, I think, 75% sure that we're going to be going to the Special Olympics World Games, which will take place next year in Berlin, Germany.
Woohoo!
That will be between 17th to the 25th of June.
Awesome.
And we were assigned, of course, for host cities, host towns. And we're going to be in the Bayern region of Kaufbeuren, Deutschland.
Okay.
That's Germany. And it's going to be another amazing experience for me. Besides bowling, did you know that I'm going to be going to the gym at the end of the month?
I am so happy to hear that, Byron. Awesome.
That's
yes.
Right. That's right. I've just signed the petition that I'm going to be at the gym. And just all we need left is some errands. And then I'm ready to be fit.
Yes. Are you going to go with mom?
Finally, he has the time to go to the gym. Because last couple of months were so hectic with work and school, and he could not. So, yes, finally he's going to join the gym.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that, Byron. I mean, that is only going to bring you better results, right? The fitter you get and, you know, the better you feel, the better you will perform, I am sure. So I'm really happy for everything, Byron, and thank you so much for sharing your experience today.
Exactly. Now, do note.
You have to show everybody your medal.
Of course. I do.
Yes.
All right. I think I got it right here. This is the first silver medal in the USA Games. That is for the singles competition. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about the camera. It's a bit slipped, but don't worry. This says Special Olympics USA Games Orlando 2022. And the ribbon of the medal says Shine S1. Now I have a second one. This one is for the doubles competition. Then there's silver medal right there. Silver medal for the doubles competition. And we were a bit behind on the gold target. Mm-hmm. I was a bit behind of gold and singles, but doubles. We met up with the Illinois delegation, who also got their gold medal. It was so amazing. We even had pictures for the delegations that we met. Also in the preliminary competitions, we met up with the Bahamas delegation as well.
Nice.
It was so amazing, so amazing. Now, heads up, all of you. After we finish at the podcast, coming up at 6, we have Floating Talk, and then at 8, UFW, just for now. Now, we had to wrap up with the closing statements here in the podcast, so we start with the closing statements in the podcast, so I believe we could start with my mom. My mom, please.
Any closing statements, Byron? And thank you very much for inviting me to your program. Mommy is always in the background, and it's nice to be part of what you do. I enjoy it very much. Nice. Carolina, thank you also for giving me the opportunity.
Yes, of course.
Actually, yeah, it has been a nice experience for me as a mom. Mm-hmm. Just thinking that Byron was away from me for 7 days was, but I made it. I went through that. It's because we've been traveling together for a long time, and just thinking that he would be with the delegation away from me, that was a little scary, but things worked out very well. And I'm glad that Byron really stepped up and did his best. What else can I say, Byron? Thank you very much. We look forward to more adventures with you. Mommy looks forward to all of them.
Exactly.
So if we get a confirmation that you're going to Berlin, of course you will gonna tell it to everybody.
I will.
And I hope that Carolina can go with us so she can.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so much fun.
Do you know I got my Instagram as well? So I do have my Instagram. I might tell them. Might or might not. Carolina?
Yes, well, thank you, Raquel, for coming today and sharing your perspective from this experience. Obviously, Byron, we're super proud of you. From the day that I met Byron, he has been sharing and explaining to me how much he wanted to represent Aruba internationally in sports and bowling. So of course, to see this come true is a really nice feeling. It's a nice emotion as well, because of course I have been around Byron for over a year now. As a mentor, but he has also been helping out so much with Fundación Autismo. So to see this holistic approach of a person doing so many things and achieving so many things is really nice. And Raquel, really kudos to you for all the work that you do and all the patience and effort that you do, and we can see the results and the fruits of that. And to everyone else who is watching and who has an autistic child, I do hope that Byron can serve as a inspiration. You know, sometimes when we think about things like sports, we think that it has to happen at a very young age, otherwise it's not going to happen. But we now see that with Byron, his big breakthrough came at a later age in young adulthood. So parents, do not give up. If you are an athlete, do not give up. Just stay consistent and focus on your dream and whatever you have to do to make sure that that dream comes forward. So, of course, we are super proud of you. We are looking forward. And who knows, maybe I can join in, like Mama said, next year and experience that for myself.
Exactly. Hopefully, we will have an opportunity to get to Berlin at the Special Olympics.
Right? Yes. Awesome.
All right, I'm going to leave you with a quote. I've just searched for sports quotes, and I found one here. Bowling is a game of mistakes. Whoever makes the fewest comes out the best. But did you know who wrote that quote? bowling legend Earl Anthony. Earl Anthony is a legend of the Professional Bowlers Association, the PBA Tour. I racked up a lot of titles, so I have to send a quote over for all of you about a quote from the legend Earl Anthony himself.
Awesome.
All right. I have to say thank you so much for all of you here at the podcast. Thank you for your patience, for waiting for this episode to happen. I would say thank you to my mom, Raquel. Thank you to Carolina as well. Do note, we'll be back so soon. Keep an eye out on my Instagram, from the Autismo's Instagram, Sopi Mix Studio's Instagram for the upcoming episode and the topic as well. So please stay tuned. But thank you, Sopi Mix Studio. They're the sponsors, Swingmasterz, Qredits, and our sponsors for the podcast from the Autismo, and our newest sponsor, the Qredits Club of Aruba, with its sub-clubs, the Qredits Club of Palm Beach, and for the Qredits Club of San Nicolas. We will hope to see you next time for the next episode of the podcast, Stima Autista. But for now, from me, my mom, and for Carolina, it's goodbye. I will see you next time.
Bye.